Well, the old saying goes that religion and politics don't mix. That's not necessarily the case in Chicago, as thousands of people descended on the Windy City for the Democratic National Convention last week. A local ministry took the opportunity to make an impact beyond what goes beyond politics. CBN's Paul Petit explains.
We needed a leader who was steady and brought people together.
While speeches and applause took place inside Chicago's United Center, chaos often erupted outside.
Our God is an awesome God.
In the midst of it all, a group of Chicago street ministers boldly shared the gospel just outside the security perimeter.
We went on a day where there were feminists, communists.
Juan Elias Riesco leads Chicago for Jesus, a multi-denominational team supported by the city's Metro Praise International Church.
When we were there, we were communicating with the communist revolutionaries of America. And we had a great 10, 15-minute conversation. We talked about Jesus. We explained to them that the Bible is way more sufficient than any communist manifesto. I had the privilege of ministering the gospel to a trans person. I looked at her and I said, "Did you know that you were fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God? That God did not design you to be trans, but he made you perfectly as you are."
Jesus Christ is the only way, the truth, and life.
Their encounters often impactful and occasionally shocking.
I want to kill my baby.
And see, the problem with a lot of
I want to kill my baby.
So we know things can take a turn for the worst at any time, but brother, we believe that God has called us to go to these places.
Jesus is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Chicago for Jesus remained focused in those places, even when accosted by an anti-Israel demonstrator.
So the same guy who was inflicting persecution upon us, putting his speakers in our face, getting in our face, we found his phone and we gave it back to him. And he looked at us and said, "Wow, man, that really just changed my perspective on you guys." And we got to minister to him after that.
Last week, it was ministry at the DNC. This week, it could be in front of a Chicago abortion clinic or at a local music festival. Riesco says every place is fair game to do what their name demands. Reach Chicago for Jesus.
We know that the truth of the gospel is the only thing that can slice through these lies and save the souls of these people.
Paul Petit, CBN News.
Gordon, it sure is good to see the wind of the Holy Spirit moving on the Windy City.
Well, I would encourage all Christians to reread the book of Acts, because we're getting into a point in America's history where we've lost our moorings, where we no longer acknowledge the Bible and people aren't reading the Bible. But in the book of Acts, Christians encountered a culture that had no Bible at all. That was something that the Jews did in Israel, and it wasn't something they did in the cities of Greece. What did the early apostles do? Well, they went to the marketplace. They went to the streets. They boldly proclaimed. Did they go to the synagogue? Yes. Did they go to gatherings where there were people earnestly seeking after God? Yes. But they also went directly to people to proclaim the good news. I think we're getting quite near a point in American culture where have we descended into atheism, agnosticism, but also paganism. And in that, how do we proclaim that wonderful good news? That message works. It worked in Greece 2,000 years ago. It worked in Asia Minor 2,000 years ago. It will work in America today.